This coming Sunday is another Will Read or Sing for Food, or really cash, and we're going to talk about that in this edition of WJTS in.form. I'm your host, Bill Potter. Joining me in the studio is Scott Saalman. Scott is the originator of the Will Read for Food, and he's also going to perform for us while we're here in the studio. And Beth Stein. Beth is the executive director for Crisis Connection, and that's the reason you're doing a Will Read for Cash. So we're going to call it the Will Read for Cash event. And Beth, if you could start off by talking about Crisis Connection needs the money for what purpose?
Crisis Connection is a local domestic and sexual violence victim assistance program. And what that means is we provide direct services to victims of domestic and sexual violence 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We also have a very extensive educational department that goes into several of the school corporations at least in Perry, Spencer, and Du Bois County very extensively. And we have programming from preschool on to adult and talk about respect and healthy relationships and just a plethora of topics. And so we very definitely are a nonprofit who needs local support to continue doing what we're doing and to addressing the issue in this community. And that does happen.
Yeah, you know, it's that whenever Joanne Canese is here, it's like, oh, come on, does this really happen in our community? And it does, unfortunately.
Yes, it does, unfortunately.
And
yes.
The one I remember, this as being Sexual Assault Awareness Month, is Indiana is #2 in the nation for teenage sexual assault, which just blows my mind, but that's what it is. Yes. So there is certainly a need. Now you need cash, you need money to do the work that you do, and that's why we have Scott Saalman. You two have gotten together. Or did Scott come to you, or did you go to him?
Scott comes to us.
Really? He's a good guy.
He is a good guy.
Yeah.
This is the second show he has done for Crisis Connection. And so we very much appreciate when he approaches us, and because there's lots of nonprofits out there, but he does pick us. He's picked us twice, so
that's pretty
we
good.
feel very fortunate. Yeah, now, and he has a fantastic show. Put that in there.
This Sunday, the show. Where, when, how much?
Yes, the show is Sunday, April 27th. It's at Forest Park High School Auditorium in Ferdinand. How much? It is $10 per person for adults, $5 for students.
Okay, and if you want to give more, obviously you can.
Yes, you can. Okay. You can just write a check.
And to get to the auditorium, you really come in, I guess, what would be the northwest corner of the building? That's kind of where you come in?
Yes.
To that, okay, that big parking lot there where the band practices.
Yes.
That's the best way to come in.
Okay. It is, actually, yes.
All right, now, Scott, let's talk about Will Read for Food. This time it's cash.
Right.
That was an idea that you started, gosh, it seems like years ago. Yeah. It has been, hasn't it?
October 2011, and that was our first one. We've done 43 shows now since then, so we try to do at least maybe 2 a month or so forth, and we're up to $22,000 in money raised through the kindness of our audience. So,
and I don't mean this in a good way. I mean this really as a compliment. This is just kind of a roughly unrehearsed, thrown together show.
Well, no. We script it so it looks that way.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay,
yes,
that's good.
We do. I mean, we go by a script, and most of the people who read are reading off sheets. So it's kind of that old radio station, the old days of, people are doing shows and reading off script, and the musicians are doing their stuff live without script. But us readers, we don't have good memories, I guess.
Well, in some of the writings, the details, the devil is in the details, so to speak, because it's very important that you flow through all the way through with your story.
Yeah, and the show actually is kind of from beginning to end, 90 minutes or so. You want to be with all of it. I mean, it's kind of a thread through beginning to end, and it's one of the things. It's a listening show, is what it is, and you need to you will laugh, and you will enjoy the music. I promise you.
But it flows in many different emotions.
Yeah.
Okay, who are some of the performers?
For this show coming up, Mr. Marc Steczyk and Daniel Ross, very good, and Ed Waston, Bethany Bagelin, Ferdinand person we love having aboard too, and Jason Raker from the Herald is going to read 2 or 3 of his stories, as well as I will too. We have so many shows. I want to make sure. I think I've gotten everybody on this one. So,
if not, there might be a surprise.
A high schooler named Haley Beth from Hawesville, Kentucky. She was in one of our shows in Tell City. She's a country singer-songwriter. She's a dynamo. She's very enjoyable, and she's going to agree to be in this one as well. So that rounded out.
That sounds pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Now, you are one of the performers, and you have a reading. Is it right to say a reading?
Oh, sure. An essay, a column, reading, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, poetry, whatever. that
No
is.
no
Okay,
poetry.
this is not poetry.
No.
Someone else does the poetry, though. doesn't it?
No poetry in our show.
Oh, okay. Was that? You say that like that's a rule?
That's one of my guidelines. We want to keep it humor essays
Okay.
in the show only.
All right. Well, if you explain the essay you're about to read, and then have at it.
Okay, all right. I mentioned Jason Raker, and this is dedicated to Jason Raker, so here it goes.
Okay.
All right. Last week, a coworker told me, "I really liked your last column. It was funny." This surprised me. My columns are seldom praised except by my mom, who's my #1 fan. What mother isn't a fan of her child? I'm sure there's even a mom out there bragging to her hairdresser. The warden called today. He said my sweet boy Johnny the Ice Pick plays well with others in cell block A. To say I was pleased by the co-worker's compliment is an understatement. What added to the moment's meaningfulness was he didn't work in my department. Unlike those in my own department with a moral obligation to say nice things about my stories, apparently they missed the memo about this directive long ago. This guy worked several departments away, so he had nothing to gain. His "I really liked your last column" was sincere. Seldom do I receive unsolicited positive feedback like this, so when it does happen, I cherish the moment, add it to the scrapbook of my soul, dip my toes in my shallow pool of self-esteem. That's because, more so than not, writing a newspaper column has led to humbling experiences. I once did a public reading that drew so few people that my dad decided to sit 5 rows behind my mom, catty corner at that, just to, as he put it, make it look like more people were there. I was recently introduced at a reading in Huntingburg as Stan Saalman. I'm Scott Saalman. When I read at my high school last year, only 2 members of my graduating class came. Had they not been married to each other, there likely would have been only one to show up. The one I still owed money to for a cheap bottle of T.J. Schwann we shared in 1982. When I first started writing humor columns for the college paper in the 80s, my intent was pure. I did not write for ego strokes. I wrote for my muse. I wrote to release the art that burned from within. I wanted my words to resonate with others in all aspects of existence as a human being, to be a trusted chronicler of the human condition, to communicate my sense of the world for the betterment of my fellow man. Ah, who am I kidding? I wrote columns to get chicks. Hey, even the Beatles and the band and the Stones admitted the same when asked why they became musicians. Unfortunately, it worked for them, but not me. I was slow to realize that women want more than just words on paper. They also expect those words to be sung. Perhaps I should sing my columns, solely for the sake of art, of course. So yes, it was nice to hear my coworker say, "I really liked your last column." True, he wasn't a chick, but at least someone other than my mom had said it. My brain, so out of practice for praise, struggled with the right response to express my gratitude. His compliment hit me like a taser gun. I was too stunned to speak. How I wanted to shower him with verbal flower petals of appreciation. The seconds felt like hours as I pulled myself up from the floor. Finally, I replied, "Thanks." Had the coworker simply left it at that, said nothing more, I would have skipped down the hallway and did a little Irish jig, clicking my heels in midair. Unfortunately, before I could conjure the celebrative little leprechaun from within, he voiced an addendum. "I can relate to your column. I hate shopping at Walmart too." Houston, we have a problem. My last column was not about Walmart, but it was the topic of Herald columnist Jason Raker's last column. Headline for men, "Walmart is the root canal of shopping." Jason wasn't complimenting me. I screwed up. What do we do, Bill? I screwed up on this. The man wasn't complimenting me. He was complimenting Jason. The death whisper of Colonel Kurtz in Apocalypse Now came to mind. The horror, the horror. It was not the first time someone had complimented me on a Jason column. What's even worse is when someone tells me, I really like Jason's column, he's my favorite. I've been told that twice to my face. I kid you not. Even Mom is a Jason fan. If you love him so much, Mom, why don't you just adopt him? I want to ask, locked in a fetal position. Luckily, I maintain a level of maturity on this matter. Jason and I write for the same paper. I am a guest columnist. He is a full-time staffer. It is not a competition. Still, Peyton Manning wouldn't want to be complimented for an Andrew Luck play. Am I right? Just saying. Instead of falsely taking credit for Jason's Walmart column, I told the co-worker the truth, and he apologized. It's no big deal, I said, limply walking away. Really, it's all cool. It is. Oh, who am I kidding? Someone give me Johnny the Ice Pick. Tell Johnny that Stan needs him. He'll understand.
Hey, the beauty of that is it's live, right? That's
Yes, that's
what's
right.
so awesome about that.
That's right.
And now we're going to take a viewing or a listen to a song with Evan Elrod, who is with WBDC, and Marc Steczyk, who are going to be performing a song that will be heard at the Will Read for Food or Cash that's coming up this Sunday, helping Crisis Connection. Here they are, Marc Steczyk and Evan Elrod.
Thanks a lot, Bill. Certainly appreciate the opportunity to be here. As always, it's an honor to be on your program. It's also an honor, a great privilege of mine to be here with Evan Elrod, who is a very good friend of mine and co-conspirator in music every once in a while. I like to refer to him as the backbeat of Du Bois County, so just FYI on that. Anyway, this is a song that may or may not be played on Sunday, but April 27th in support of the Crisis Connection at Forest Park Auditorium. Hope you can come out. $10, 6 p.m. The song's called Like a Man. Ready? Keep my name out of your mouth. I don't need you anyhow. I hope I've done more than you've ever even thought about. Ain't no chains holding my mouth back now. Don't you really wanna know the truth and why it's so? What you preach is right is wrong. So just ask me face to face. So just ask me like a man. What's that crazy stuff you say? Make a young man turn to gray. I know better about your lies. You can only cry wolf so many times. Don't you really wanna know the truth and why it's so? What you preach is right is wrong. So just ask me face to face. So just ask me like a man. Give you enough rope and you'll hang yourself. You think you're a martyr for someone else who's been holed up in his foolish shell. I think the three of you can go straight to hell. Don't you really wanna know the truth and why it's so? just right is wrong. So just ask me face to face. So just ask me like a man.
Well, we hope you have enjoyed this edition of WJTS in.form. It's always good to have live performances from Scott Saalman and also from Marc, Steczyk, and Evan Elrod. And we've appreciated our guest, Beth Stein, who is the Executive Director for Crisis Connection, reminding you this Sunday at the Forest Park Auditorium, it will be We'll Read for Cash. We'll read or sing, I should say, for cash. And this is for Crisis Connection. And the event will start at 6 o'clock at the Forest Park High School Auditorium. Admission is just $10, $5 for students. Hope to see you there. This has been WJTS in.form. We are local people watching local people.